Alright guys, Salisbury Cathedral in Wiltshire, UK, and we're going to go and have a look around the cathedral, and we've got a tour of the tower, so we're going to go up. You can't see the tower, let me go and find the tower, but these buildings are just magnificent, aren't they? Absolutely gorgeous. Here we go, let's go and get a glimpse of the cathedral. Wow. Wow. It doesn't matter how many I see. I absolutely love it. Cathedrals. Let's turn around and give you a look down the cathedral. Beautiful, eh? Absolutely beautiful. I mean, they're all the ones I've seen. They all look similar but different, if that makes sense. But goodness me. So this is the nave and the west doors, and then you get all the information that you need. The nave is the largest space in the cathedral, clearly. Oh, there you go. Wow. So we're waiting for a tower tour, and so we've just got a little bit of time to wander around before we have to meet our tour right here. Medieval clock. Look at that. Oldest working mechanical clock made in 1386 or earlier.
What is that?
This is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. William Jeffrey, Canon and Chancellor of the Cathedral, 1554 to 1558. And that sign is bright. Look at the size of this place. Crikey. Oh, I love it. Love it all. Look at the stained glass as well. Excuse me. Just so beautiful, isn't it? Stained glass, there's just something about stained glass, modern or ancient, I love it all. Well, I don't know what this modern art is, but it's pretty cool. It's called Joyful Noise. I don't know if you can see it properly because of the sun on that side, but pretty awesome.
Gentlemen at the back to stay at the back and take up the rear. Do you mind? Yeah. Is that all right? So that just because there's only one of me, just to check if there's anybody behind us.
322 steps of varying types. I think this might be the easiest of them.
Font, which is also relatively new, built in 2008, beautiful design. As you can see, that nice cross shape and beautifully engineered, so you get completely flat surface. Don't be fooled into thinking it's glass and put your camera down on it, as has been known to happen. And it is used for baptisms. Along that stone ridge below the lights, at the very far end, because it dips down a bit, can you see? It dips down on both sides. Also, those dark marble pillars you can see bend in slightly. That is the result of, they weren't always like that, they were dead straight when it was first built, but the extra weight of the tower and the spire, which we're going to climb up, weighed down, made them shift and these bend inwards. It hasn't got any worse for the last 700 years. The other interesting thing about the architecture of it, which the floor guys were telling you more about, is that this cathedral has no foundations. It's built on wet gravel because this is a river plain, and you can actually see, if you haven't already done so, look at the dipstick just to the right of the altar in the middle there at the crossing. And
wow.
The floor guides will show you how close the water level is to the floor. And because wet gravel is extremely strong, as long as it doesn't dry out, then the cathedral doesn't fall over. I don't think that's going to dry out today. If it's fine, I'll talk to you a bit more about the stained glass on the way down.
Awesome.
We come down the same way. Okay.
Wow. This is so awesome. Wow, but it's awesome.
Was it? Seriously?
Wow.
Feels very different up here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To what it does in the nave. And what you don't, when you see the cathedral from outside, you think, well, the ceiling is about the same height as the roof. You can't here realise how much higher the roof is. That's the ceiling. There, and we're above it. Is that everybody? Great. Okay. So we're now in the roof space above the nave, so that's the ceiling of the nave that we were looking up at just now. And you can see there's a lot of wood, and the wood structure is interesting and very important. This wood is very old, and some of it is probably older than the cathedral itself. You can date wood very accurately by using what they call dendrochronology, tree ring dating. So some of these bits of wood here, the older bits are 1,000 years old, so they probably predate the cathedral. May have been recycled from the original cathedral up at Old Sarum, we don't really know. But there's been a lot of restoration since then. The original structure was a series of cross beams like that went all the way around, and sometime in the, I think the 16th century, it was changed to this sort of goalpost called Queen's Road structure, which is stronger and better at bearing the roof. The roof on either side, on the other side of these wooden slats, is lead, and we'll see that from above when we go above it. There's an awful lot of lead. There's a hectare of lead on all the roofs in the cathedral. The windows behind you are the evacuation points in the event of fire or injury. But particularly since Notre Dame, we're very, very conscious of fire. You can see it's all the way up and see the fire hose there and alarms and everything. So all this wood is oak, and it was all from, some of it's from forest quite near to here, some of it is Irish and actually brought across the Irish Sea, probably because it's a better quality wood, don't really know why. Originally, when the medieval carpentry is fascinating, because when this cathedral was built, they used no metal at all. There was no bolts or screws or anything like that. So it was all just using wooden pegs. What the metal bits there you can see are from later restorations. Might be several hundred years ago, but they're not original. And what's slightly interesting, I think, is if you look at the there, for example, these are pegs that are used to join two bits of wood together, a mortise and tenon thing, with a peg drilled through to hold them in place. These ones are cut off to make them flush neatly. These ones they didn't bother, and some you look along, some are, some aren't. And that just reminds us that when this space like this and everywhere above here was built, nobody expected groups of tourists, 6 groups of 10 people a day to come up here. Nobody came up here except the people who built it, the people who maintained it, and probably even the priest didn't come up here. So it's not being made all neat and tidy, which means there's some quite interesting things to see on the way up, which are never really supposed to be seen. 2 statues here. Yeah, we'll talk about these now. We could see them again on the way. You can have a closer look on the way down. These are put here specifically to show visitors. They weren't originally here. These 2 angels were originally right outside there and there. And if you go outside and look up at the west front, you can see on that diagram there, there's 2 red circles. That's where they were. And that's to show the effects of corrosion from pollution. The stone, the whole cathedral is built from limestone, a particular kind of limestone called Chilmark stone, which is quarried not that far from here. And they're very much susceptible to acid rain. Do you know what I mean by acid rain?
This is awesome. So awesome.
Yeah, so symmetrical, yeah.
Wow. We are above the nave. Goodness me, this is awesome. And here's the tower.
So this is, we're almost at the top of where it was when the cathedral was first built. All these arches look like fancy, but you can't see them from the outside. And like I said, up until we started doing tours, nobody came up here much. So why do they bother carving these fancy arches? Well, the answer is that originally, when the cathedral was first built, these could be seen from the outside. This would all have been open. But then, when they put the tower on top, they had to strengthen it, and they had to strengthen it in a big way. So first of all, they filled in the walls between these arches here. They they put extra metalwork in, which are these slender black bars, and much later these big ones, which we can see better from the next level up. And they also had to fill in the.
Far from the ground are we at this point?
We're probably about 45 metres.
This is spiral staircase, very tight. There's Adam there. How you doing, Adam?
I don't know.
You okay?
I don't know.
Keep going. You're nearly there. You're nearly there.
No.
You got to.
I don't have to.
Well, yeah, but we can't go back right now, can we?
No, that's-
So these are the spiral staircases that were filled in then. Wow.
Well, I'll tell you that now. Anyway, so I've just been asked on the window panes here, there's writing on them. And as you see, they're dedications to people, either alive or people who've died in memory. And the dates are all sort of late 1980s, early 1990s. They date from the most recent major restoration of the cathedral, which started in the 1980s. And this was a fundraising endeavour. You could pay a certain amount of money, and you could have yourself or your loved ones commemorated for having their name. This isn't vandalism, so this cathedral was covered in scaffolding, and the restoration went on for about 38 years, which, as you'll remember, I've already told you, is the amount of time it took to build the entire cathedral in the first place. Just following on from what had to be done when the upper part of the tower and the spire arrived, all this metalwork is there for that reason, and handed at different points historically. If you have a great wave pushing down, the tendency for what is below it to splay out. So these are to tie the walls, the older walls, in using metal. The lighter kind of metal is very old. It's actually medieval metalwork, and it's said to be some of the finest medieval metalwork anywhere. And if you look carefully, you can see actually there are very few screws, just wedge-shaped things, a bit like you would with woodwork, holding it in. The much chunkier ones below it are 19th century. This was a Victorian restoration, which was very extensive and went on for a long time, and various well-known architects were involved with that. Lay unused and unloved, but before that, the bell was actually recast, and it's an interesting little bit of English history because there's a Latin inscription on this bell which says presented to the church in 1661 by King Charles II in the 13th year of his reign. That's what it says in Latin. King Charles was only crowned in 1660, yet it says in the 13th year of King Charles II was crowned in 1660, but in 1661 he said he was presenting this in the 13th year of his reign. How can we explain that? Anybody an expert on Englilich Civil War?
They counted since the
Well, since one particular event that affected Charles II quite profoundly, and affected Charles I even more profoundly, you could say, yeah. So, from the moment Charles I was executed, having been taken prisoner by Cromwell, King Charles II, who at that time was in exile, he fled to France, he considered himself to be king. So, the minute that's the way the monarchy works, the minute, we said recently when Queen Elizabeth II died, the minute she died, King Charles III became king, long before any coronation. The coronation was an afterthought, really. So he considered the 30th year of its reign. But it also illustrates that during the 12 years of what's now called the Commonwealth, the era when England had no king, when Cromwell was in charge, called himself Lord Protector, and the parliamentarians had overthrown the monarchy, England was a miserable place. They were Puritans. They didn't like anything that was reminiscent of Catholicism. So they didn't like cathedrals. They didn't like parties. They banned Christmas, for heaven's sake. They closed all the pubs. They closed all the theatres. And they hated bells, because bells were associated with joy and fun and celebrations. So the fact it was a bell he presented was almost like, right, back to normal now, guys. We've got rid of Cromwell. I'm back on the throne. And so you can start ringing the bells out. And people did first have to, 30 years ago, he said when they first started doing it, they did go up there. That hasn't happened for a long time. Everybody ready for the last staircase?
Going up there.
There is a very low arch at the top. Please be careful, don't knock your head. Here's the birdies. So that's the webcam. It's brilliant. So I haven't been up here since they hatched. Right out there, just there,
Oh wow.
is the fluffy chicks.
Oh, how awesome.
They hatched about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they're just sleeping there, a little bundle of fur. You might see the parents come in, but it's just out there, right there. We're not allowed to go out there. We can't get any food.
No, we're not going up there.
But I would say.
So that's the very top of the spire up there, I'm guessing. Oh, it gets the heart pumping, I'll tell you.
Right here? Oops.
We're not going that far up. This is as far as we go, but we get to go outside. So we're just underneath the spire. Hopefully he'll tell us.
Yeah.
Because this is the last part of it, isn't it? Oh, I want to go up there though. It's fucking crazy. You've done it.
I think it's
They're just out there.
They were nesting here last year.
Beautiful.
The word peregrine means wanderer. So that I saw some in the wild. I saw some in France very recently, a couple of weeks ago, and they were nesting in cliffs, which is where they would have done naturally, but in urban environments they're adapted to high buildings. But originally they would have nested in the cliffs. Right, I was just going to point that out that you're about to photograph there. Thank you. Get my torch to work. So that is, if you don't believe me, here's the Guinness Book of Records confirming it. Salisbury Cathedral has the highest spire in Great Britain, which reaches the height of 123.13 metres or 404 feet. That we are not at the top of the spire though, we are a mere 86 metres up. So we're not even, we're about 2/3 of the way upwards. You'll see what happens above us.
Oh wow.
So you may feel you've come a long way, but we're still some way short at the top. Right, a series of ladders. So this amazing bit of equipment is called a windlass, and this is really old. So a lot of it's been replaced. Bits of it are original medieval windlass, and this was used for centuries to winch stuff up from the bottom of well, from floor level all the way up here. So everything that we've seen that, up to this level and above was winched up using this. You could probably lift maybe up to a ton of weight. There would have been probably 4 men, not standing in the middle like a hamster, but with these rungs on either side, pulling or pushing to wind a much longer rope than we've got on there now. That's just for demonstration purposes. A series of trapdoors all the way down from there, all the way down to floor level. So you could bring stuff up that way, and so a huge amount of physical effort must have gone into that.
Wow.
Amazing.
Oh, how awesome. I know, definitely touching history here.
Okay, so we're now looking to the north, and what you can see, I'm going to start in the distance, straight ahead, that is Old Sarum. That is where the old cathedral used to be, that green hill with trees on, and these huge Iron Age ramparts, which are very ancient. Every visitor would strongly recommend it. The original cathedral was on the far side of the hump in the middle. Remains of the old castle is still there. You can still see some of the ruins, and it's English heritage property is well worth a look around, and you get a fantastic view from there as well. Coming nearer, so when the cathedral moved, the town moved with it. So the original inhabitants of Salisbury were just the people who built the cathedral, and there were a lot of them. The church straight in front of us with the St George's flag flying is St Thomas's, and that is as old as the cathedral, or even older, because that was built for the builders of the cathedral to worship at. It was their church, and it is still Salisbury's parish church, because cathedral cities have a parish church as well as a cathedral.
Yeah.
There's a lot of churches in Salisbury, but St Thomas's is amazing. It's got some incredible medieval paintings in there, which are well worth a visit. You can just pop in and have a quick look for free. Now, the old city of Salisbury is sort of along, there's the river there, on that side, on the west side, past where Sainsbury's is now, and then just across to the north side there, and then down the east side is where that dual carriageway is now, and that was the original medieval city, and for centuries that was it. It's set out on a checker basis, a bit like a new town, unlike many other medieval cities. So the cathedral close, like other cathedral closes, could be completely sealed off. And during the time of the Great Plague, one of the Great Plagues, they tried to keep the plague out. This is all very relevant to those of us who lived through COVID recently. To seal off the gate there, and there's a wall you can just see in the back of people's gardens, which goes all the way around the close, apart from where the river is. We don't need a wall. Didn't work, of course. The plague still came in and people died, but the clergy decided that they didn't really care how many poor people died out there as long as they were all right. So the clergy also built themselves some lovely houses. Most of the houses in the close were originally built for the clergy. They're mostly sort of 17th, 18th century houses, and they're all rather beautiful. Some are in private hands, some are still owned by the church, but not many now. Montpesson House, a National Trust property, well worth a visit. Also, like some other properties, featured in various film adaptations. The Jane Austen Sense and Sensibility, which I happened to see, came out in 1995 with Emma Thompson. Some of it was filmed there, and other houses have been filmed for Dickens adaptations. And they love it here because there's no modern ephemeris to get in the way and to spoil the appearance. The grassy bit was not always like this. During the really right up until the 18th century, it was a graveyard, and it still is a graveyard. Underneath all the beautiful grass, there's an awful lot of graves, an awful lot of dead people. It floods frequently, this area. It used to, it isn't anymore. So it got muddy, it got messy, all the headstones were falling over, there were even bones floating to the surface apparently, or rather unpleasant. So in the 1790s, several things happened. The bell tower, the campanile, was demolished. You can see its footprint there very clearly. Can you see that? See that square with bits sticking out just by the cafe? That is called the bell tower, although that's new. That's where it was. That was quite high, not quite as high as we are now, but pretty high. And that's where the bells were that we've just heard chiming. And then that was demolished, like I said, at the same time. It had already been damaged during the Civil War 100 years before. But this guy called Wyatt, who did a lot of restoration of the cathedral, he also raised the ground level, imported loads of soil to raise the ground level so that all these graves were buried, and took all the headstones away. So you don't know where all the graves are now. Anyway, but it looks cool. That more interesting building at the castle was originally the Bishop's Palace, but it's now the Salisbury Cathedral School. That's where the choristers come from, boys and girls. It's very windy. I think I just small, so you go out there.
Man, this is so awesome being right up here. Feels like there's more rooms here.
The weather, let's say, is horrendous, isn't it?
It's only on one side, only on the other.
Yeah.
Museum, which is excellent. I thoroughly recommend it. If you're going to go and see a museum, there you go, it's very class. And beyond it, the River Avon, as I say, and that whole area, which is grassy with sheep grazing on it, is the water meadows. It's a floodplain, so you can't build on it. And that is a relic of an agricultural system from which goes back to the 17th century, where they deliberately flood those using channels and sluices during the winter, because the temperature of the water in the river is warmer than the ground in the winter. So that's the Churchill's industrial estate. The railway station I didn't point out when we were looking the other week. You can see there, engine grey shades just in front of it.
Hey Jim, we turned the lights off. Heading down, guys. Heading down.
I just did that.
Staircase 1. I just did it. You did just do that. Don't you see that? It's quite dark. Look at that.
Story that in the 1740s, this was struck by lightning during a thunderstorm. The next day, the church warden saw smoke coming out of this window here, dashed up here and found this beam was alight, it had been struck by lightning. And then, in those days, no pumps, no hoses. They got a human chain of people with buckets, go all the way, everybody, the whole population that was involved, according to the story, to the river down there, passing water hand to hand all the way up where you just came. Put this fire out in the nick of time before it burned the whole cathedral down. And then they had to restore this afterwards with this brace, so this goes back to 1740s. Yeah. And there's a contemporary account of it, so
Don't you see the writing?
that was one, as far as I know, is the only fire that did any damage that was being up here, but I'm very careful about that. This was fire damage when it struck by lightning in 1740, was put out by a human chain of people carrying buckets of water up from the successfully, otherwise what the people would have done down.
This was the total.
Just can't really see. Oh, you can see the names there. They're in memory of people. It was a fundraiser. I don't know if you heard him say when during the last restoration that you could pay to have in memory of somebody etched on these glass windows.
I do know that you put that hole through the middle, then put
We're up there. Heading back down. Awesome, awesome tour. This is just so awesome. We are back above the nave ceiling again. Amazing.
Quite a nice view out there, isn't it?
It's awesome, isn't it? I'm jealous you get to do this every day. It's all
No,
absolutely amazing.
Very few of us do it every day.
we're all volunteers.
Yes,
In the summer, I do it on average about once or twice a week. In the winter, much less often because there are fewer tours. It's just getting busy now. But in the winter, they only do about two a day.
Oh,
In
okay.
the summer, it's up to 6 a day.
Here we are. So we were just up there. How awesome. This is nuts.
Yes, the lights will, if you open that, the lights will come on automatically. There's a movement sensor in there. So just walk in. If anybody wants to ask me any questions,
There you have it, guys. What did you think about that tower tour? So this video is probably going to be a bit long. I will speed up the climbing of the stairs, but we'll be remiss if I don't take you back round and show you the rest of the cathedral. Look at this. That actually looks like glass, doesn't it? Wow. I've never seen one like this before. Wow. That is awesome. So we got up to there before, so well, let's have a quick spin round because it does close. It closes at 4 today. It is Sunday. But that tower tour was awesome with Robert, who's absolutely very knowledgeable, isn't he? Absolutely amazing. Going up is tough. It's tight. But we both did it. We all did it. We all did it together. Wow. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh, it's so awesome. I don't actually know where to look, guys. I do not know where to look. Wowee. That is beautiful. This is the choir area. The man's got squeaky trousers on. George Sydenham. Wow, look. Jesus, it's so beautiful. This is amazing. So many historical artifacts here. But isn't that great? Isn't it great and amazing that we can still see a lot of this stuff? And so much is destroyed. See, and they kind of always, all of the cathedrals I visited have similar things. Also different things. Wow. Foundation stones. Oh, I don't even see that. Look at that. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Just keep walking around because I want to see it all. Wow. My goodness. My goodness. Sorry, I'm too busy looking around, looking at what I'm doing, sorry. That's just beautiful. That's just nuts. That's a tomb and a half, isn't it? Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. I wonder how all of these bishops that are buried here, interred here, who passed away, I wonder how they feel about hundreds and thousands of people traipsing past their little tombs in pride and joys, really, because the cathedral was their life, wasn't it? I wonder strange things sometimes. I love it.
In 1755.
That's pretty good going, isn't it?
Yeah.
Under the floor, the cathedral's foundations are only 1.2 metres, 4 foot deep. Surprising given the size and weight of the building, the foundations are made of flintstone held together with lime mortar. Wow. So that's 1915. The flooded cathedral was described as a large steel pool from which the pillars rose and into which they threw their reflection. Wow. Wow. I keep saying wow, don't I? But it is wow. There you have it, guys. Salisbury Cathedral. Just beautiful. We were up in that tower, below the spire, but on the walkway at the top that you can see. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. There you have it. Salisbury Cathedral, I keep saying it. Salisbury Cathedral. Come along and do a tour. Do a tour. It's worth it, I promise you. Hey guys, that's another brilliant tour we've had. Surprise, surprise, it's raining again in the UK. As always. We're heading back to the car. I just want to show you that the bugs have their own cathedral too, which is pretty cool. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up please. There's Adam C. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment. What did you think? Would you climb those stairs? I wanted to go further, but they don't take the full tour any further than that, which is a shame. Adam says nope.
No. Those weren't stairs, those were ladders. Those were ladders. I would not climb those ladders.
I would have done. I would have gone up there. But anyway, I'm going to turn this camera around and show you the Bug Cathedral, and I shall say goodbye. So, see ya! Look at that. The bugs have their very own cathedral, which is pretty awesome. Can't even get it all in frame. There we go. Bug Cathedral.